Very good. So we will do our prayers and there will be a lot of sharing of screen. We'll start with the prayers. Okay. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. साथ में करना है?
बाद में करेंगे।
श्रुति स्मृति पुराणानाम आलयम करुणालयम। पूरा लाइन लीजिए।
श्रुति स्मृति पुराणानाम आलयम करुणालयम।
और भी बड़ा करेंगे। ओके, 1 minute. Okay, now it's really big. Shankaram, sorry. Namami Bhagavat Padam.
नमामि भगवत्पादं
Shankaram Loka Shankaram.
शंकरं लोकशंकरं
Shankaram Shankaracharyam.
शंकरं शंकराचार्यं
Keshavam Badarayanam.
केशवं बादरायणं
Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande.
सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे
Bhagavantau Punah Punaha.
भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः
Sadashiva-samārambhām
सदाशिवसमारम्भां
Shankaracharya-madhyamām
शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम्
Asmadacharya-paryantāम्
अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां
Vande Guru-paramparaम्.
वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्
Ishvaro Gururatmeti
ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति
Murti-bheda-vibhagine
मूर्तिभेदविभागिने
Vyoma-vadyapta-dehaya
व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय
Dakshinamurtaye Namaha.
दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः।
Okay. Shri Hari Paramanandam
श्रीहरि परमानन्दम्
Upadeshtaramishwaram
उपदेशारमीश्वरम्
Vyapakam Sarvalokanam
व्यापकं सर्वलोकानां
Karanam Tam Namamyaham.
कारणं तं नमाम्यहम्।
Sorry, 1 minute. Oops. बीच में आओ. Aparokshanubhutirvai
अपरोक्षानुभूतेर्वै
Prochyate moksha siddhaye
प्रोच्यते मोक्षसिद्धये
Tadviresha prayatnena
तद्विरेशा प्रयत्नेन
Ikshaniya muhurmuhu
वीक्षणीया मुहुर्मुहुः
Svavarnashramadharmena
स्ववर्णाश्रमधर्मेण
Svavarnashrama-dharmena
स्ववर्णाश्रमधर्मेण
Tapasa haritoshanat
तपसा हरितोषणात्
Sadhanam prabhavet pumsam
साधनं प्रभवेत् पुंसाम्
Vairagyadi chatuштayam
वैराग्यादिचतुष्टयम्
Brahmadi stavaranteshu
ब्रह्मादिस्थावरान्तेषु
Vairagyam Vishayeshvanu
Vairagyam Visheshvanu
Yathaiva Kakavishtayam
Yathaiva Kakavishtayam
Vairagyam Tadhi Nirmalam.
Vairagyam Tadhi Nirmalam.
तो फिर मैंने सोचा कि एक तरह की एक समरी है मैंने किया है, पर क्योंकि मेरी I just would like to share that, and each of you can just read it out. It's the same thing that we have done, but we'll just read it out. Eh? So we'll start with Bhatia uncle. That what is Vairagyam equal to?
Vairagya is equal to freedom from emotional dependence, attachment. Emotional dependence is there when I believe that my well-being or happiness is dependent on the presence or absence of something. Vairagya frees me from that emotional dependence. To gain Vairagya, we need to be thinking people, one who examines their own life experiences and discovers the fact that the pleasure that one gets from presence or absence of an object is actually a source of dukkha because it is time bound. Nitya Ananda cannot come from what is limited non self. Ananda has its locus in a conscious being, not in a jad or inert things.
Yeah, right. This is the same thing that we have been doing, so I don't think it requires any further explanation. But I just wrote, this is a very important point to remember. So Anita, you can take this in Vedanta.
In Vedanta, Jada or inert refers to anything that is not self-revealing. The whole universe is not self-revealing. The whole universe depends on consciousness to reveal it. Consciousness alone is self-revealing. Consciousness alone is the locus of Ananda. Jada, whole universe, is incapable to being the source of Ananda.
Yeah. So this is the same thing that we have discussed before, that
Yes.
things are jada, and Ananda always resides in something which is conscious. Of course, Vedanta's definition of jada is only that which doesn't reveal itself. Anything which doesn't reveal itself is jada, according to Vedanta. And only one thing is not jada, and that is consciousness, because it is self-revealing. It reveals itself. And of course, by the very word consciousness also, it is not jada. Iti. Then we have that Swamiji had taken up Chandogya Upanishad. Yeah, Yo Vai Bhuma.
Yo vai bhuma tat sukham nalpe sukham asti. Chandogya Upanishad 7:23:1. The infinite changeless consciousness alone is Ananda. Anything that is limited cannot be happiness. We scrutinize our life experiences on the basis of the above understanding and discover for ourselves that the source of Nitya Ananda cannot be anything that is limited, because then the Ananda itself will be limited.
Yeah, we are talking about Nitya Ananda, unconditional Ananda, limitless Ananda. So that limitless Ananda, its source has to be limitless only. If the source of limitless Ananda is something limited, then that Ananda will be limited. And what we want is limitless. What we want is Nitya Ananda. We don't want Chota Chota Ananda. We're actually looking for Ananda which is there all the time. Iti. Okay. Then Soni uncle.
Verse 4 continued, happiness born of association with something is happiness with a cause. Namityaka sukha. And causes are all subject to changing, going away. Therefore, happiness born of association with anything is limited.
Yeah, correct. No problem in that? Because this is all tight logic, So I think we should be okay with it. Sarojanti, any question?
ठीक
No.
है
हाँ, ठीक है, आगे बढ़ो.
What is it that we really want? We want Nityananda, and that can only be without a cause. Nirnimita, that which does not come will not go. Only the consciousness that I am does not come and therefore does not go. Body comes and goes. Mind is conscious.
Mind is also like that. Mind is actually considered as anadi. It has no beginning. Okay, even though it is a karyam, mind is karyam of avidya. Karyam means it is an effect of avidya. It is born of avidya. In that sense, we say mind is born, but there is a cycle, So in that cycle, mind is anadi. That cycle is anadi. Avidya, kama, karma. That cycle is anadi. So mind, in a way, is anadi, and it will have an end when there is moksha. Okay, I don't know why that has gone off. Maybe I deleted somehow. I don't know. Then consciousness.
Conscious is Anadi and Ananta. Conscious is Nirnimita. Consciousness is Ananta. Conscious is Ananta Ananda.
I like that. Anantananda. Eh? Anantananda. Very nice. Consciousness is Ananta Ananda. जिसमें कोई लिमिट ही नहीं है.
Unlimited happiness. But this mind is also a jada, isn't it?
Mind is jada, absolutely. According to Vedanta, Vedanta's definition is mind is jada. Jada means what? Not self-revealing. Mind does not reveal itself. Because of the presence of consciousness as a reflection in the antakarana, mind is revealed in the presence of consciousness. So mind is not self-revealing by itself. Consciousness is self-revealing, and in its presence, mind is illumined and mind is revealed. This is Vedanta's model. Okay?
No, Vedanta is telling that everything which can be objectified is a jada, you see. So it means only consciousness, nothing else.
Yeah.
So
therefore, mind is jada. It cannot be anything. Then let's look at the last one, Sarojanti.
Consciousness is the self, is not an subject. Object. So when we say be object,
be inward looking.
It only means become free.
नहीं ऊपर का एक लाइन और है.
अच्छा.
एक मिनट मैं इस पे मैं कर्सर डालती हूँ.
Say the Ananda looking.
Auntie, 1 minute. So when we say be inward looking, अभी चलो it.
Looking, it does not mean search for the self as anything that,
as an object.
Object. It only means become free of fascinations for anything that does not directly pertain to the self. That is why you have enough time to pursue Vedanta.
Means हमारे बुद्धि, if supposing our mind is occupied with lot of things, like what is happening in the United States right now, my mind is occupied with that. What is happening in United States, what is happening with that Sonam murder, what is happening with this and what is happening with that, then all the time your mind is occupied with that, you don't have time for Vedanta. So then how to become?
How to become free of fascination for the things, people, situations through Viveka, that they are all
through Viveka.
Viveka. They are all
Omact.
Omact.
Okay, stop. What is Omact?
Omact.
Object.
Material. Okay.
Adjective.
A is attribute.
Attribute.
C is
changing.
what there you have written, it is non-self.
Yeah.
Anything, I mean,
He is
without
changing.
any,
She is changing.
anything objectify, when whatever is there, it is all
Temporary.
No, but then we have given more details. OMAC you should know by heart. Okay. O is object, that
C
which is an
changing
object,
and T
that which
temporary.
is material, that which is which is an attribute, that which has got, which is changing, that which has
Changing.
got attributes or is an attribute, that which is changing, and that which is temporary. So anything which is, or any is these object, material. Material includes energy, which has got attributes, or this thing is changing and temporary. That means it is non-self. Then Auntie Swamiji says,
how to become free of fascinations for the things people self. Swamiji says that each attachment should be examined as there is no
basis,
there is no
Basis.
basis for the belief
belief,
that something gives me happiness. Non-self can only be the nitya
can be
condition.
only the
Nimitta.
nimitta. Auntie, 1 minute. Non-self can only be the nimitta, the
Yeah.
cause for conditional ananda. But what I want is unconditional ananda. Yeah. So that is the topic of Vairagya. Then Swamiji talks about love without attachment. Is love without emotional dependence. This I will read. What does that mean? That means I do not depend on what I love for my own sense of well-being. And then Swamiji says it is healthy relationship. So a healthy relationship with the world is one of love, not attachment or aversion, where I give freedom to the world to be as it is, and I am comfortable with the world as it is. I don't have demands of it for my well-being. So I put this up for discussion. You all can discuss this matter. No, we all can discuss this matter. कि स्वामी जी इधर क्या बोल रहे हैं कि दुनिया को दुनिया से प्रेम की जो संबंध है वो ही हेल्दी है, पर किस तरह की प्रेम?
अनकंडीशनल,
अनकंडीशनल प्रेम जिसमें अटैचमेंट नहीं है. ठीक है, मींस हमारी इमोशनल डिपेंडेंस उसके ऊपर नहीं है.
Oh,
तो वो
what
बोलते
difficult.
हैं where I give freedom to the world to be as it is. कि जैसे वर्ल्ड है वो वैसे रहो, मेरा तो कुछ नहीं होने वाला है. Let the world be whatever it is, I am fine. I'm comfortable with the world as it is. अमेरिका में जो हो रहा है होने दो, इंडिया में जो हो रहा है होने दो, किसी के साथ जो भी हो रहा है होने दो, I am fine. इति मेरे साथ भी जो भी हो रहा है होने दो, मेरे बॉडी में भी जो हो रहा है वो होने दो. इति I am fine. इति I have no demands of it for my well-being. Mane, this can only be true for Jnani, no? So the Jnani only will have this sense of well-being because he has recognized I am consciousness and I don't depend upon anything. Only consciousness does not depend upon anything. Other than that, within the world, we are all dependent. This body is dependent on food. When this body falls ill, it is dependent on people. Dependence is there everywhere. But only the body, only consciousness is not dependent. And therefore, the person, that Jnani who recognizes कि मेरा कोई डिपेंडेंस नहीं है किसी के लिए भी, मेरे स्वस्थता के लिए, because I am consciousness that is independent. So for that Jnani, this can be true. And therefore, what, the world to be as it is, I am comfortable with the world as it is. That means Jnani ने वर्ल्ड को किस कैटेगरी में डाला है? सत्यम में या मिथ्या में?
मिथ्या में.
हाँ, क्योंकि वर्ल्ड को मिथ्या की कैटेगरी में डाला है, इसलिए द ज्ञानी इज फ्री. Therefore, whenever we feel very bothered about something, we can ask ourselves that in which category I have put that, is it Satyam or is it Mithya? And you will inevitably find that in your mind, even though cognitively we know it is Mithya, but in our heart, we are holding it as Satyam. And therefore, we get, so ज्ञानी के अंदर वो डाइकोटमी नहीं है कि हार्ट में कुछ उनकी वैल्यू सिस्टम है और हेड में कुछ है. He has understood very well it is mithya. His heart also says yes, it is mithya. And therefore, that jnani can have this kind of this thing. Okay. And so when we have any difficulty with something, like, then we know. So today I was asking myself, because I was getting very het up, I was watching this American politics, और उधर एक डेमोक्रेसी खत्म होने वाली है, वो अवस्था में आई है. तो मुझे क्या, मेरी पूरा क्षत्रिय ब्लड वॉज अप. तो फिर मैंने अपने आप को पूछा, अच्छा शांत हो जाओ, ये सत्यम है या मिथ्या है?
बट इस समय तो मैं तो फुल्ली आई एम इन अहमदाबाद. मेरा तो पूरा दिमाग उधर है इस समय. कुछ नहीं जा रहा अंदर.
एक लड़की बच गई.
लड़का
लड़की एक लड़की,
लड़का,
लड़की भी बची
और एक
लेडी भी बची.
वो तो ऐसे बच गए कि 10 मिनट्स लेट पहुंचे. वो तो ऐसे बची.
ये तो भगवान की यही है. वो भी भगवान का ही था, एक्सीडेंट भी भगवान का ही था.
आई नो,
पर भी उसका टाइम नहीं आया था.
हाँ, पर वो लड़की का टाइम नहीं आया था, तो उसको 10 मिनट लेट भेजा, ट्रैफिक ज्यादा करवा दिया.
एंड पेरेंट्स आर सो हैप्पी. They were just showing.
Yeah, I saw. Very sad. Okay, verse 5. We have got 20 minutes. That is page 61. Same thing actually more or less gets repeated now, with more unfolding. Okay, all have reached verse 65.
Yeah.
Nityamatmaswarupam hi.
Nityamatmaswarupam hi.
Drishyam tad viparitagam.
Drishyam tad viparitagam.
Evam yo nischaya samyak.
Evam yo nischaya samyak.
Viveko vastuna savai.
Viveko vastuna savai.
Good. Nityamatmaswarupam hi. Drishyam tad viparitagam. Evam yo nischaya samyak. Viveko vastuna savai. तो वर्ड मीनिंग देखेंगे. नित्यम अर्थात नित्यम, eternal, that which is not time bound, timeless. Atma Swarupam. Swarupam means the nature of what? Atma, the self. He, indeed. Drishyam. So Atma Swarupam Nityam. That's what is being said here. Drishyam, whatever is seen, tad viparitagam. That is the opposite of that, meaning it is not Nityam, it is Anityam. Evam, thus, Yaha, the one who, Nishchayaha, has a firm conviction, Samyak Vivekaha, that is perfect discrimination, Vastunaha, of the reality, Sahavai, that person indeed. The true nature of the self is indeed eternal. Whereas the observed world, that is the Drishyam, is opposite of that. Opposite of what? Opposite of being eternal. That means it is non-eternal. The one who has a firm conviction in this manner, evam, the one who has a firm conviction, samyak nischayam, this manner, that person has got perfect discrimination. Right? Sorry, samyak vivekaha. Okay, samyak viveka, perfect discrimination. Vastunaha, regarding reality. It's pointing out who is the one who has got Viveka. The person Nitya Anitya Vastu Vivekaha, the person who has got, that person has got this perfect Viveka. Okay. Then Swamiji launches on a big this thing, which I'll read little bit, maybe one or two paragraphs, give it to Bhate uncle. The Atma Swarupa, the true nature of the self, is Nitya, eternal. Being not limited by time, the self is always there. Atma Swarupa is the infallible, that which will not disappoint me, that which is always faithful and dependable, that which will never fail me. I can't help making a comment, That poor fellow, that Raja Raju Raghuvamshi, he thought that his Sonam will be the one who will never disappoint him. But wo bewafa nikli, huh? As Pujya Swamiji said, the human heart is always searching for the infallible. The child first sees it in the mother. There the child finds total trust, comfort and security. Then he discovers the limitation of mother when he sees that mother runs away from cockroach. The child realizes that mother is not infallible. Then father becomes infallible. He is all powerful, omniscient and omnipotent. But father also runs away when a ferocious dog comes. Thus, the poor mind keeps on hoping that this or that is infallible, but everything in the world is limited. No one can fulfill our expectation of infallibility. The child wants the mother to be perfect, but no human being can be perfect. There is no perfect mother, no perfect father, no perfect anybody. Even the child himself is not perfect, of course. But what we are searching for is the infallible, the perfect. We seek the Nitya Vastu, that which is infallible, which is trustworthy, which will never desert me, which will always be faithful to me, which will always be with me. The author says that this is in fact the Atma Sarupa, the nature of Atma, the self. The self alone can satisfy that qualification. The self is always there, never deserts me, and is limitless, is infinite. Because there is no limitation there, there is also no insecurity or fear. Bhati uncle?
What I am searching for is something that is nitya, permanent, not created, and without a cause. Only happiness that is without any reason can be nitya, permanent, whereas what is created is perishable. The happiness that you want is uncreated, but the whole universe is created, and therefore everything is anitya, impermanent. This being so, how can anything in the universe give me what I am searching for? The basic viveka, discernment, is that what I am seeking in my life is the permanent, eternal, infallible, trustworthy, limitless. Someone may say, who cares for nitya? The nature of the self may be nitya. But why should that interest me? Let it be. If I have not discovered the value for what is permanent, it does not matter if Atma is permanent. So what? But when I know that what I am seeking is Nitya Vastu, then it is not enough to know that Atma is Nitya. I want to be Nitya myself. We are interested in ourselves, not in anybody else, not even in God, to be really frank. The only thing we are interested in is ourselves, as we have to know what we want.
Now, Anita, you can take the next one. Knowing what we want.
Yes, knowing what you want. When we ask ourselves the question, what do I want? First, it becomes clear that I want something in my life. Why do I say that? Because my mind keeps on coming up with desires, one after the other. Desire is the expression of a want or lack. So it is clear that I want something. I am lacking something. Then what do I want? I have attained so much in my life. Everyone is an accomplished person. Some attain wealth, some attain name and fame. Everybody has attained one measure or the other. So, in one way, I can look upon myself as an accomplished person. But what have all those accomplishments done for me? Have they given me an inner satisfaction? Do I find myself a more satisfied person than what I was 25 years ago? At that time, I wanted $5,000. That was big money. And now I want $5 million. But the thought that I want is still there, meaning that I remain a dissatisfied person. I have also managed to convert many luxuries into necessities, and therefore I may be even more dissatisfied and dependent now. Swamiji कहते नहीं थे वो तंबूरा चलता I want. To pay attention to oneself is to know what one wants. What is that urge in one's heart? This is where clarity is required, and we don't have that clarity. It should become extremely clear that what I want is Nitya Vastu and nothing else can satisfy me. If I discover that as a fact, 90% of my problems are solved, when I am clear that what I want is permanent, then automatically the impermanent will not be of any consequence to me. Right now, every little thing of the consequence because I am not sure what I want. Therefore, everything that I attain is of great consequence in my life. But when I realize that everything is impermanent, it does not matter whether things are with me or away from me, here or there, because what matters now is the Nitya Vastu. Anything that is a Nitya does not matter to me.
Soni uncle?
Yes, only Atma is Nitya, everything else is Anitya. Drishyam tat vipratigam, whatever is experienced is impermanent. First I discover that yat drishyam tat anityam, whatever I can objectify or experience and is therefore other than me is necessarily impermanent. However great it may be, this requires objectivity about everything. Lord Krishna says, Idam
Sharidam kaunteya
Kauntaya Krishnam
kshetram ityabhidhiyate.
Ityabhidhiyate. Hey Arjun, if this world is Drishya, then the body is also Drishya. Your body, mind, self-complex, sense complex is also part of the creation. So it is also impermanent and it is also not you. Thus, the first thing to discover in life is what I am seeking, namely the Nitya Vastu. The desire behind all the desire is for the Nitya Vastu. We can say that if the desire behind all the desire is for happiness, then this happiness should be permanent, unconditional happiness. If the desire behind all the desire is for freedom, then it is permanent, unconditional freedom that is desired. This we have to discern first. The next step is to ask, where is the Nitya Vastu? Is there a Nitya Vastu? Wherever I look, it is all a Nitya. Whatever I experience is a Nitya, which means that what I want is not to be found anywhere. There is only one thing that is not an object of my experience, and that is the Drishta.
That is
subject.
the drashta.
Drashta. subject. All objects are Nitya and only the subject is Nitya.
Very nice. With that, maybe we can stop. We probably have 5 more minutes. We have 10 more minutes actually. Saroj aunty, you can read a little bit, no?
Okay. There is a means or for fulfilling every natural desire. Fortunately, Ishwar has made a provision for fulfillment of every natural desire. Since we are born with the desire for the Nitya Vastu, that is desire cannot be fulfilled. Wherever there is a natural desire in the scheme of things, there is always means of fulfilling it. You can't say that for the cultivated desire. However, for example, hunger is a natural desire. So food is created. This is natural desire. So what is created? Created. Thirst is natural desire. So what is created? Some special food or drink like Coke or pizza may not be created, but there are all cultivated. Those are all cultivated desires. God is not obliged to fulfill such desires, but God is obliged to fulfill the natural desires that He has created. Similarly, the desire for moksha, freedom, is the natural desire for the freedom must be nitya and eternal. Therefore, the desire for the nitya vastu is an uncultivated natural desire. It is not that I wanted anitya before and now I want nitya. I am born with the desire for the nitya vastu, so there must be a reason for fulfilling it. But if everything is anitya, there is nitya. The author tells us that the nityam atma sarupa sarupa nityam at sarupam hi. The subject is nitya. We learn this from the scriptures, of course, because it is not possible for us to directly arrive at the fact of atma. Atma is a nitya.
Is nitya.
Nitya. We can use logic to support the statement arrived at the means of
Vyatireka, distinction, and anumana, inference.
Anumana, inference.
Yeah, I will quickly read this because it's a nice part. Using logic to establish that Atma is eternal. I have little time. There is a statement in the tradition, Atma Sarupam Nityam Drashtatvat. Yan Nityam Tan Na Drashtru. Atma Sarupam Nityam means the nature of the self is Nitya, eternal. Why? Drashtritvat. Because Atma is the seer. Atma is the witness. And therefore it is Nitya. How do you say that? Yan Nityam, Yan Na Nityam, Tan Na Drashtraha. Whatever is not eternal is not the seer. Then an example is given, Yatha Ghatadi, like a pot. A pot is drishya, it is an object. This is a negative way of stating things. In other words, that which is not the subject is impermanent. The logic is that Atma is permanent because Atma is the subject. And whatever is not the subject is impermanent, like a pot. Or you can say that Anatma is Anitya. The nature of Atma is eternal and the nature of Anatma is impermanent. Atma is Nitya and Anatma is Anitya. How do we say that Anatma is Anitya? Drishyatvat. Because it is perceived. Drishya means that which is perceived. And Tvat means giving that because. Drishyatvat, because it is perceived. It is known. It is objectified. Yan Na anityam tan na drishyam. That which is not impermanent cannot be perceived. Okay, it's a negative way of saying that which is not impermanent cannot be perceived. Because Atma is not perceived, it cannot be impermanent. Atma is not an object. Only that which is an object is impermanent. But Atma is never an object. It is always the subject. Because it cannot be perceived, okay, it cannot be impermanent. Thus, what is drishya seen is impermanent and drashta seer is permanent. With some logic, you arrive at the conclusion that Atma is Nitya, or else somebody has to tell you. But the first thing to be discovered is that my quest is for Nitya Vastu. Everything around me is Anitya, so it makes sense that Atma is Nitya Vastu. See, the basic logic which he is going to take in the next paragraph, he is pointing out in the next paragraph that you have yourself, it is your experience, your own experience, that whatever you perceive, जो भी आप देखते हो, whatever you can perceive, whether it's sound, whether it's, you know, through your eyes, whether it's through your nose, whether it's through your taste, whether it's through your touch, all of them are anitya. Nothing is nitya. What that means, whatever is perceived is anitya. But how do you know? How can you know that something is changing, is anitya, unless there is a changeless reference point, right? So you are the one who knows that everything is anitya. So then what is that changeless reference point? It can only be you. You as consciousness, as the witness, are that changeless reference point. And therefore, you are the Nitya Vastu iti. That he will come to in the next paragraph. Okay. So we will see again this point again later. Okay. From wherever this logic is, it's a tight logic. So I will try to break it up again and show you next time. Okay. Om Poonam. We'll have a class on Monday. Om Poonamadah Poonamidam Poonat Poonamudachyate Nasya Poonamaadaya Poonamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi